This is a review of the Netgear AC750 dual band gigabit Wi-Fi range extender. This is a powerful device that allows you to add extended range to your Wi-Fi. I was going to recreate a drawing, but heck, it's on the box and it's pretty good. I'm going to show it. This blue area represents your existing Wi-Fi. You can take this device and come over here and plug it in the wall and make it a range extender and essentially double or more than double the range of your Wi-Fi. So the yellow area is what you're adding. You can also use this same device and not make it a range extender, but also make it an access point, which has its own advantages and disadvantages. I'll go over that in a second. The beauty of this is it's able to work in the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz bandwidth. That allows you to, if you have two networks back here at those speeds, you'll have two networks out here. In the box, you'll find this Wi-Fi extender and a brief instruction manual that goes over the setup to use it as a range extender or an access point. On the front of the unit, you'll see a series of LEDs. This first one here is the router link LED and an arrow to indicate that data is being transmitted to it. This is the arrow that indicates that data is being transferred to the client, and this is the client link LED. Here you see an LED for the power on, and down here a WPS or Wi-Fi protected setup LED, which will be on when you're trying to do the setup. I want to point out that these antennas are adjustable. That way it allows you to focus the Wi-Fi system in your home to get the best reception as possible. Back here you'll see the AC plug. You just plug this into the wall. You'll also see the username and the password to connect to this and program it. Down below here you'll see your WPS pin, your serial number, and your two MAC addresses for the 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz bandwidths. I have it covered up for obvious reasons. On the side you'll see the Ethernet port. This is a 1 gigabit Ethernet port. You have a factory reset slot where you push a pin in to reset it back to factory defaults. This is the WPS or Wi-Fi protected setup button, the on-off button, and here's a slide switch that you can move to extend this to be an extender or to an access point. I can't make this video a training session, but I want to point out that there's two basic functions here, a range extender and an access point. And I'm going to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of each. Regarding a range extender, that's where you simply plug the box in the wall and hook it up to your Wi-Fi system. The pros, it's fast and easy to set up. There's no Ethernet cable to plug in or required to make a system setup. It extends the range of your Wi-Fi system, and it's also a dual band extender, so that means it still works in 2.4 and 5 gigahertz ranges as long as your main Wi-Fi router is also a dual band. The cons? It cuts the speed of your Wi-Fi system in half. The reason for that is it's spending half of its bandwidth transmitting and receiving data from your devices, and the other half of the bandwidth transmitting and receiving data from your main Wi-Fi router. On the access point's a bit different. Its pros, it has much faster data transmission using Ethernet connection hardwiring back to the main Wi-Fi router. Instead of having an Ethernet output here to plug into something, you plug in the Wi-Fi cable, and this cable will transmit data back to your main Wi-Fi system via the wire at 1 gigabit speeds. In my setups I've used before, you have the ability to split operation of the Wi-Fi channels to offer a broader bandwidth of your Wi-Fi. I'll show that in a second. You also have the ability to use the same SSID and security password as the main Wi-Fi router. The cons are, it requires the Ethernet connection that goes from this box all the way back to the main router. So if you're running the length of a house, that could be a problem. That's why the range extender is a nice option for some people. This is a Wi-Fi analyzer software. It's available from Amazon for free. And here you can see the Wi-Fi systems that are accessible in my neighborhood, and you'll see these two big bumps. Both of these are my existing Wi-Fi. I have two transmitters. One of them's on the other end of the house, about 70 feet away, and up a floor, and you can see how it's lower. And this is one that's on the main floor, and this is an industrial strength access point with a strong signal. I'm now going to add on here another system using this Netgear, and I'll show you the effect of that and where it shows up at. I do want to point out though that here you can see I've got these two access point and the main Wi-Fi separated on different channels, and that gives me a very good bandwidth, which means all my neighbors with all their Wi-Fis are not walking on my signal. In all cases, I'm stronger on every channel than what they are. Right now I'm within about 20 feet of my Wi-Fi main system. I'm going to plug this in the wall and press the WPS button here. Then I've got 2 minutes to press the WPS button on my Wi-Fi to link in the 2.4 gigahertz band. Here you can see that the system is plugged in and the green LED means the power is applied. Here you can see I'm pressing the WPS button in order to start the linking process with the 2.4 gigahertz band. You can see the WPS light blinking. It's ready to be connected. I'm going to press the WPS button on my Netgear Nighthawk. And they're both blinking. They should be connecting right now. Now you can see that the WPS light is solid, and you can also see here that the link light is green. So this is now linked as an extender to the main Wi-Fi router. Here you can see now I have 3 Wi-Fis in my home. The one that's close by, which is the Nighthawk version. This is the industrial version, which is now about 70 feet away and 1 floor down. And this is the one right here we just set up. And because we're right under the unit, you can see it's absolutely booming. But just imagine now that this is linked, I can unplug this, take it down the hall 30, 40 feet away and plug it back in, and I'll have a stronger signal down there than I do today. After I paired with the 2.4 gigahertz band, I then came over and pressed the WPS button a second time. It started flashing. I went to my Wi-Fi main system again, pressed its WPS button. It then linked to the 5 gigahertz band, and then this LED flashed red, went out and came back on, and now both bands are working and linked. I can only show down here the 2.4 gigahertz band on this system, but both systems are working. Here you can see the listing of the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz system listed under the extension mode of this new router. Here you can see I only have 2 bumps. That's because I unplugged the industrial access point, which at this point would be pegged to the top. But here you can see I have 2 Wi-Fi set up. My original one, which is now sitting about 55 or 60 feet away up a floor, and the one that's a bit stronger is the one that I've got plugged in a different room that's about 20 feet away, and that's the Wi-Fi extender. So that's the purpose of it. If I'd walk in another room, that Wi-Fi extender would even be stronger. Change the name of the SSID. It's added an extension on the end, which is _ 2GEXT, which means it's 2 gigahertz extended. You can see I'm standing closer to the extension unit we just installed, and you can see the difference in the signals. It's more than 100 times stronger. Here you can see I have the 3 Wi-Fis hooked up again. The pale blue one is the one upstairs about 65 feet away. The dark blue one is the extension one, and the purple one is the industrial one. So I have tremendous Wi-Fi coverage in my home. Here you can see we have this Netgear plugged in. Right now we're about 55 or 60 feet away from the original main Wi-Fi and down a floor. And down here you can see this graph, and you'll see the perfect example of why this device is important. Here's my main system upstairs, but like I said, I'm the distance of almost a lot away from it. And here's my neighbors, which is as strong as mine. So now we're going to be looking at each other, and what I want to do is have a strong signal. Up here you'll see this signal here. That's coming from this Netgear Wi-Fi. It's boosted the signal that much. It's basically more than doubled the signal as far as amplitude in the curve, and that is a lot of difference because this curve is logarithmic, and it means that the signal is massively stronger. This is an excellent product. This takes a big house like mine and allows you to cover the whole house with one Wi-Fi system and this extender. This review is done by jjceo. I'd like to tell you I received a sample of this product for test and evaluation, and I rated it at 5 stars. It's an excellent product and it worked well. It was very easy to set up.